Okay, 1 second. Let me know once my screen is visible. Okay, guys. So today we will start. Let me show you what I intend. So look at this spec. This is your 33.36.331. This is RRC. Usually you will have most of your solution into this document. Okay, where is the solution and what is the solution, what is the answer, you will find here. So let me take you through gradually what this overall has is. So this will tell you about the architecture of the RRC and what services RRC gives. Okay. This will also tell you all your procedures. So there are procedures about system information procedures, and there are procedures about your connection control. Okay. So most of these what we are talking here is connection establishment and your duration of the connection until the release. Okay. So your connection establishment and configurations and everything, this will tell you when is what. Then it's about also handover. So you have mobility, inter-ret mobility, intra-ret mobility, and all the procedures. It will tell you about measurements, how to configure the measurements and how to get the measurements, and based on that, how to decide and what to do about mobility, right? And there are other things, miscellaneous, right? So in the miscellaneous, you will have ULDL information transfer capabilities, CS fallback, etc., etc. All right. So this is how it is structured, and there are other things which we will not cover, but you can go through how MBMS works. Briefly, I can tell you how single cell SCPTM work, point to multi-point. Um, then side link also it will tell you, that's not our interest. Side link, how the two mobiles can talk to each other direct without any E node B, without any E node B, G node B, in the desert, in the Himalayas, okay, in the Antarctica. And so there is a complete set of that, and then there are protocol message details, your RRC messages. I will take you through this because this is common and all the information elements are there. We will go through a sample few, and these messages in information elements we will also see in our also we will see it in our practical QXDM logs. Okay. So like you will have information element about cell selection and information, like, right, all this, how, what are the important ones, I'll show you. And so with respect to that, so anything you want to know, you should come to this document and see this, right? And you have WLAN related. So that's not the intention to cover, but I can tell you briefly as we go. So and so on. So by the time you get familiar with all of this, you might have some new question in your mind. That is fine, and we can discuss new question. But I will go with you in this sequence. Is that fine? And as and when we will jump into this specs. So the first topic which is according to this is your system information. Let us talk about how the system information acquisition is done, how the acquisition of the SI messages are done, okay, how acquisition of other BLUE and MBMS is done. That briefly I will tell you, but the main focus is on that. System acquisition, right? So as I told you other day, how many system information messages we are there in 4G, right? And I was telling you it is MIB, SIB1 and SI, only three. SIB2 is not a message, SIB3 is not a message, none of the other SIBs are messages. Make it clear. Okay, and whatever further is written, you go and read it, but I will take you through my slides, which are extracted from this. Okay, right. So coming back to my slides, any question, anything so far? So what are the main questions usually people are asked? So usually in your mind is what comes in MIB, SIB1 and other SIBs, number one. And number two is what are the important parameters which impacts very commonly and heavily. And third is when do I get SIB3? When do I get SIB2? Which frame number and subframe number? The timing of that. So in the idle mode, when you are there, you don't want to miss any system information, right? At the same time, you want to sleep 99%, just like paging, right? So how you don't miss? What are the timing calculation? All right. So let us go through this system information reception. First of all, the mobile has the capability to work in many bands. So you should know about bands. So the first column is the band numbers. Band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4. You will hear this name. So what does this band means? The respective frequency range. So there are some frequencies by 3GPP earmarked as FDD, and there are some frequencies which are earmarked as TDD. And based on this recommendation, all the mobile manufacturers, they make their mobiles capable to certain frequencies. See, it's very hard to make one very small device capable of all the frequencies, going from bottom, 100 hertz, 1000 hertz to megahertz, gigahertz. It's not so simple, not possible. Okay, so you limit your mobile what you want to make it capable. More and more, you want to make it capable. The size will get bigger, but you want to keep it in pocket, right? Not only pocket, you want to keep it in a watch. So mobile will be limited to what bands and what frequencies it can support, and you should know that, right? And within one country, no country has all the frequencies dedicated to civilians. They have already dedicated different frequencies to police and military and defense and other organizations, CBI and etc. So all are not available in every country for civilians. Few will be available. So which ones are available? That country will auction the frequency, and usually in that country, that capable mobiles only will sell. There is no point selling a mobile in India which frequency is not available, and I pay unnecessarily for that. And wherever it works, I am never going to go to that country, right? So be aware. Also, fourth column you see what bandwidth. So these are in megahertz, 5 megahertz or 10 megahertz. What megahertz frequencies are recommended? Okay. And also this is very old. Now the new chart will be very bigger, much bigger than this. Just be aware. And which are used in which country and so on. Okay.
Sir, one question. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
Yes.
Actually, it's like if we are having the same chipset, then how we can enable some different frequencies? Like some chipset supports only band 1, band 5, and band 40, and
Right.
some chipset support only band 40. So how we achieve that one? Like
how you achieve what? Like one chipset has done few bands, right? Because they are focusing
yes.
for that market in that country. They are focusing to sell for that market in that country.
So it's like chipset dependent. Like means in chipset they disable some kind of thing. That's why, or
Not disable. They would like to enable every band. Just that they have not been able to put the antennas. They are not able to put the systems which will work in that frequency. They have not been able to. See, nobody wants to disable anything. Everybody wants to enable only. But only thing is, they haven't been able to do that.
sir, sorry again.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
doubt is it's like we have one mobile, like let's say S8, S9. So it's like in India, they are having certain frequencies, and same device, if I go and get it there, along, it's like with different operators, they have some different limitations. Like one operator supports only some 4 bands, and with the same device, the other operator sells another 2-3 bands.
True. Yes.
So
True.
it's like, yeah, sorry, please.
So that's true. So okay, put it like this. Let us say it is India. Okay. So in India, whatever frequency is available, Government of India announces it to all the operators. So all the operators are aware.
Right.
Not only all the operators, the entire world, like Qualcomm, Samsung, Nokia, everybody is aware, right?
Right.
So so now let's say Qualcomm. So they would like to make a chipset as much wideband as possible. Let us say that they are targeting India and China. So that's band 40, right?
Right. Right.
So they will focus that at least in their chipset, these band of frequencies like 2300 megahertz to 2400 megahertz is operable. They will ensure, and I will go for that chipset. Some other country, let us say European Union,
Japan. Yeah.
yeah, or Japan, somewhere. So that frequency, so one chipset company will make it that band at least. Now, when the two bands are close to each other, one chipset company will combine this capability, this band capability, as well as that band capability, so that it runs in both the countries.
Okay.
And they will try to maximize the amount of band they can cover. Okay?
Okay. Okay, sir. Got it, I think. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
other question? Yeah, Japan I can see. Japan is the band 1 and also band 9 and also band 6. Yeah, this is a very old chart, just for clarification. In
So,
the
sir, I
spec
had a
you will get.
question regarding this. Sorry.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I had a question that, the bands supported by hardware
Uh-huh.
are different from the bands supported by software, because I have seen, like, in real life,
Mm.
if someone is using some phone and there are some specific bands are enabled in software for US,
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to use the same phone in Europe.
Right.
So I have seen issues in which, we had to enable the bands
Right.
so that that same phone can work in Europe too.
Yes. Yes. So hardware capability has to be there. Hardware capability has to be there. You may not use it. You might have disabled it. Is okay. But capability
Yes.
has to be there. Only then you can enable. So pure software configurable to this band will not work unless the hardware also supports and you enable it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Seems clear.
Right.
And there is like one another case, I have seen, like, when some merger of specific carriers occur, like
Mm-hmm.
suppose Idea in India merges
Mm-hmm.
with Vodafone,
Mm-hmm.
then due to that thing also, we had to make some kind of change in the software so that uh,
Yes.
the bands can be supported.
Yes, yes. So I will come to some of that later on in the software. Where do you configure this, and where network tells you what it is capable of, and then I look at the common what I can do in this network, and what can be configurable, accepted, and what cannot be configurable in my mobile, and I have to send it to the be rejected. Sorry, no, I cannot do this, and so on. Okay, so that configuration message at some point of time we will come to that where it is done.
Okay, that would be great. How we can see in the QXM logs that, why the device
Yes,
is not able to attach to this band, because it comes in real
yes,
life a lot.
yes. No, it's a simple question of matching and mismatching, and to be able to configure and not to be able to configure. It's related to my capability. So we'll go to the
Yes.
capability. All right. So yes, so keep your questions and with respect to this. Now, next step is we are talking about how and when to get system information. The very first system information is master information block. So I'm telling you 4G only and 5G. One day I had covered on physical layer. Physical layer is not the intent, but very high level I will tell you. So every 10 millisecond, the 0th subframe, you get this brown color master information block. Next frame, again 0th subframe, master information block. Alright, so you get that master information block every frame, every 10 millisecond frame. And this master information block is spread across 4 symbols. So there are total of, in normal, there are 14 symbols. Out of that, 4 symbols of every 0th frame, 0th subframe of every frame you will get. Okay. So this is the picture of FDD timing and this is the picture of TDD time. Whether it is FDD or TDD doesn't matter. Your MIB always comes in the exactly same location. Okay, no difference whether it is TDD or FDD. Your PSS SSS locations might differ, but not the master information block. Okay. Also, when the eNodeB is transmitting the MIB, so MIB is, let me see immediately, I have here, no. The MIB is 14 bits information. But you know the minimum information what I can send, minimum information is 24 bits. So I add 10 spare bits. Minimum information, so that's how physical layer is designed. There are certain algorithms. Somebody will tell you, why are these 10 spare bits? Why am I wasting these zeros? We will go to the CRC and there are CRC algorithm to compute. Okay, the CRC is added to find out whether what I have received is I have received correctly or not. And the algorithm requires this to be minimum 24 bits. That's a software efficiency issue. You do apply those algorithms which will work on lower than 24 lengths, you will have inefficiency. So all that research is done by 3GPP and they have decided it to be 24 bits to be minimum. So one MIB information is sent every 10 millisecond, as I said, and that every 10 millisecond, on that you will add 16-bit CRC. So total it will make it 40 bits. All right. That 40 bit you further do coding. You further do coding in that coding process, and this is once in 40 millisecond. Okay, this is once in 40 millisecond. And that is what we call periodicity of the MIB. So this 40 bits will become 1920 bits in case of normal cyclic prefix. In case of extended cyclic prefix, the algorithm will run slightly differently and it will be different number of bits. And by the way, the mobile knows it is cyclic prefix or extended cyclic prefix much before attempting to read the MIB, correct? That you come to know at the reading of the PSS SSS time itself. So while reading PSS SSS time itself, you know whether it is normal prefix or extended prefix. So you know what number of bits to expect. So this 1920 bits further gets divided into 4 parts. Okay, so if you divide, how much it will be? How much it will be each? 600 something. I think 640 or some number of bits. Yes. All right, 640 or some number of bits. That 640 will go in one frame. Next 640 will go in another frame. Next 640 will go in another. So this is 10 milliseconds. So in 40 milliseconds, you are transmitting all the 4 parts. Okay. But in this encoding process, each part contains these 14 bits. This second part also contains the same 14 bits, but in a different pattern. This third also contains the same 14 bits, but in different pattern, because you have encoded it and spread it out, probably repeated it so many times. So this 640 itself has that 14 bits, maybe so many repetitions inside. How it is encoded to be repeated, that also you don't know. So you will be not, so many times it is repeated even within that you will not miss all these 14 bits. Any question? All right. Now
I have one. Can I
Yeah.
ask like what?
Yeah.
In the previous slide, you told like the MIB location is same always.
Yes.
But how will the mobile know the MIB location? Like it.
Oh, it is written in the book. It is fixed for the entire planet. It never changes. It is
The
fixed to.
starting point. How will it know? Like this is the starting of the zero frame for the mobile.
Okay, so that we are coming to discussion of PSS, SSS. I didn't want to go there.
Okay.
If you go into physical layer, there will be a lot. So very briefly,
Okay.
I will tell you. Very briefly, I
Okay.
will tell you. Where is the starting? So we start scanning the frequency. So these PSS, SSS signals are very unique. Okay, LTE has 3GPP has designed this to be unique. This signal can never be neither transmitted or received in GSM, never in 3G, never in 5G, never in NEG, never in 1G, never in Wi-Fi, never in WiMAX. In no wireless technology, these PSS, SSS signals are programmed and they don't exist. Okay,
Okay.
so this is a unique signal designed by 3GPP. Mobile knows about it from the book. It is fixed,
Okay.
and that signal it is trying to look. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It finds here. It finds here. It finds here. It finds here, and continuously it is coming, right?
Okay.
So your SSS is unique. This SSS in a frame and this SSS in a frame, are they same? No, they are different. So it knows whether it is subframe 0 or it is subframe 5. It knows whether it is subframe 0 or it is 5. In case of PSS, SSS being together, he knows that beginning is this many symbol ahead, or next subframe is this many symbols later, whatever is your calculation.
Okay.
And it knows the frame boundaries and subframe boundaries.
Okay. That means it acts as a marker for everything.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And in TD, if it is TDD, he knows it is TDD because they are separate. Then he has to go this many symbols earlier or this many symbols later.
Okay. Got it.
Perfect. So he knows these boundaries. Okay, and exactly he knows at which nanosecond, so precisely it knows where to get it. Not only millisecond and microsecond, even nanosecond preciseness it knows. All right. So your mobile was just switched on. So you might wake up at first subframe, or you might wake up at second or third or fourth. It doesn't matter where you wake up. It doesn't matter where you wake up. You will get the latest MIB. You don't have to receive the previous one. You don't have to receive the next one. Just one anywhere you wake up, right? So this pattern is so unique. The mobile knows about this algorithm. If it is this pattern, it means it is the third one. If it is this pattern, it knows it is the first one. Mobile knows about it. Mobile can detect. So mobile can detect what? It can detect whether it is type like subframe 00 or 01 or 10 or 11, right? There are 4 possibilities, right? Which can be represented in 2 bits. Agree? 2 bits. It can find out. And let's look at the blow up of this one particular millisecond. There are 10 milliseconds, right? Let me blow up 1 millisecond where the MIB is coming. This is the blow up of that. And as I said, it occupies 4 symbols. So this is your PSS, this is your SSS, and it occupies 4 symbols for MIB. So 640 bits will require 320 symbols because it is QPSK. 320 symbols are spread into this. How many symbols will be there? So this is the picture of 1 RB, but you will require 6 RB. 6 RB. So 1 RB, this is the picture. 6 RB, this is the picture. So in 1 RB, you will have 12 times 4. How many symbols? 12 times 4. 48. And 6 such RB. 48 times 6. Some figure, right? And minus the reference signals. These are reference signals. Okay. Your 320 symbols will exactly fit. And that is why it requires 6 RB. It cannot be accommodated in 1 RB. It requires 6 RB. So do you have the answer to the question? Your MIB is only 14 bits. Your MIB is only 14 bits. Yeah, okay, 288 bits. Yeah. So out of that you need so in that you have to remove this reference signal bits. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 you will have to remove in 1 RB. So 8 times 6. 48 you have to remove. If you remove 48, you will be left with 240. Yes. So your you will have exactly 240 symbols for your real MIB. So do you have the answer now? Even if your MIB is 14 bits, why do you need 6 RB? Yes, right? All right. Yeah. So even if you receive the MIB every 10 millisecond, why do you call periodicity is 40 millisecond? You got the answer? Yes, because MIB and encoding is only once in 40 millisecond. Yes, it comes every 10 millisecond, every frame it comes, but I don't say periodicity is 10 millisecond. Periodicity is 40 millisecond.
Same MIB is transferred everywhere in this code.
And the same pattern goes every 40 millisecond. Okay, same pattern goes every millisecond, but your MIB might change every 40 millisecond. This coding process repeats every 40 milliseconds. So your MIB content might change. All right.